Now, I'm going to take you to a spot which is just have to watch the video and find out. But if you get closer, you'll see that that's actually goldfield area. See the quartz right there? And there's diggings around the back there. Some huge gold nuggets were found just beside the main roads. Even at the back of these farming areas. Massive. All you got to do is search these areas where the trees are, because the trees are untouched. And it also shows you where the low spots are, where the heavier nuggets form or gather. And that's just one small section. That's actually a random section taken there. That's all goldfield area, all around there. The very heart and motivation behind treasure hunting is finding items of great value in areas that otherwise might seem quite uninteresting. For example, some areas look completely barren but have a wealth of natural gold just under the surface. All along the side of the road there are lots of old-timers gold diggings, and other areas look lifeless and empty, but hundreds of years of historical coins, artifacts, gold have been lost and now can be restored and put on display for everyone to appreciate. But they don't just magically appear. There is often quite a bit of work.
Oh, you gotta work bloody hard for a little bit of yellow.
Finding the worthwhile items and motivation, research and hard work is often the key to success. So when you go off looking for a good area to detect, you have to ask yourself, what are you interested in finding? Are you interested in the kind of lucky dip aspect? You're curious about what can be found in the area? Or do you want to try your luck and go for the retirement piece of gold? They are out there on the goldfields, make no mistake. But spending days of digging up rubbish and false signals can easily lead to disillusionment and the idea that it's all a hoax. And besides, luck probably plays a much smaller role in success than you might think. It's really nice and cool this morning. We've got a beautiful sunny day coming. I can't wait to get out there and try my luck.
It looks like they might have missed a spot here. We've got big diggings over here, and over here it's just pretty much bare. There's no diggings whatsoever.
But the reality is that they are there and in numbers. And history suggests that the people and nature don't like giving away closely held secrets. And there are many. Good idea to do these areas very, very slowly, carefully, be in the zone, take your time. You'll find something that somebody else has missed. After spending quite a while on the goldfields, it is very easy to believe that there's no gold to be found, even despite the huge and unmistakable evidence of old-timers diggings and reading the history of gold found in the area. And even when it is found, it is hard to believe. And I often find myself looking for other possible explanations as to how it got there. As the old saying goes, the eyes cannot see what the brain doesn't know. Then this also applies to the ears. We know the ground's right. We just got to see any evidence of the old timers. I think I'm on the top of that hill actually. I don't know if you can see it on camera. We'll go up there. If you don't know how to recognise the very subtle and often very faint difference between ground noise and a deep gold nugget, you could easily walk over the only one close to the surface in the area and be totally unaware of its existence. Which brings me to probably the most important aspect about treasure hunting, or the rule that comes before any other rule about metal detectors, and that is to experiment and learn your detector. Nothing is worse than spending hours of looking and finding no real good targets, only to discover later that the settings was wrong, or something simple like the batteries had gone flat in your detector. The other problem is that we often have preconceived ideas on where we might find stuff, but the reality can be quite different. There's an old but very true saying that when it comes to finding gold, that gold is where you find it. Every area is different. Some areas are completely barren, and some areas have huge gold nuggets just lying there for the taking. And often the only way we can confirm the presence is through experimentation, time, or testing. And other areas only have traces of gold and are not detectable. And some areas have patches within patches where gold is even present. In the world of treasure hunting, the last thing you need is frustration, and the better the odds of finding what you're looking for, the more motivation you will have to continue with the hobby. Some areas offer opportunities for detector operators to find gold close to the surface in drifts or straight out of the outcrop itself. This is known as coarse alluvial gold, or large pieces found in the ancient drifts or reefs. If you believe that luck is the biggest factor, then why bother spending so much time looking? It seems to be only the lucky people that find it. That's not true. Finding gold is nearly always about going to the right spot and being in the zone. But the rules of finding gold in these areas are reasonably consistent, and the majority of gold which is found according to the distribution of weight rule. In other words, they are found mostly at the bottom of gullies, or where because of their weight have grouped together in low spots, possibly along with other heavier materials found in drifts or ancient gullies. On the gold fields, these gullies are often drastically changed from modern times, so what was once a gully millions of years ago could now be the side of a mountain or completely flat. You can think of finding gold as like fishing or going collecting mushrooms. You find one and there's bound to be plenty more in the very area. Often people who find gold are pleasantly surprised, and that is to be expected because sometimes surprise and disappointment is part and parcel of the hobby. In other words, you can't have one without the other, otherwise there is no base for comparison. I believe the key to most treasure hunters' success is that they learn to ignore the disappointments, as there are often many, but keep the pleasant surprises in memory. And this is used as motivation to experiment and keep searching for the bigger surprise, much in the same way as a fisherman is always looking out for the big fish or the one that got away. My experiences in treasure hunting astonish me never ending, because I always expect another coin, fishing sinker, or even a piece of foil when out pops an 18-karat gold ring or even a nugget. So the rules that I have mentioned here serve as a guide only, and one should always be open to learning new things and experimenting with new ideas. One of the pleasant surprises with finding gold and jewellery on the beach is that 18 karat and above always comes out in great condition, and even looking more like 24 karat, as the salt and acids in the ground will not even tarnish gold in its pure form. Old 9 karat jewellery is often quite deteriorated, and you can clearly see the maker's join marks, and if you apply any amount of pressure on them with your fingers, for example, they will break into many pieces. Relatively pure gold, which is found in the ground, has survived since the beginning of time because it's almost totally invincible. Often the only visible evidence gold has changed over millions of years is that you can find it worn, well-rounded and smoother. Another interesting point to remember about detecting in high traffic areas like beach sands is that it's always a good idea to take a bum bag or rubbish bag with you so you can put all of the rubbish into. The idea is to remove all the rubbish and later place it all in the council provided bin before you're finished detecting. You will not only be encouraging the wildlife to return to the area, by removing poisons like lead from sinkers or batteries, or chemicals from disposable batteries. But if you decide to return to the area, you won't have to waste time and effort digging the same target. And often, under all that rubbish, lies the gold items.